dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, one Southern Kentucky school district is planning for bus driver shortages. Whitley County has not had a shortage like other districts yet, but they fear one could be coming and some routes may not be served in traditional ways. That's why school leaders are putting a plan in place for some drivers to take double routes. As WYMT's Phil Pendleton tells us, that plan would have some kids getting to school late.
Better late than never. That is the goal of this plan, to get kids in school, to keep them in school, and the fact that they're arriving later in the morning for a handful of bus routes is better than them not coming to school at all for that day. Superintendent John Seiler says the COVID peak is coming, but fears cases could get worse before they get better in the coming weeks. If multiple drivers call in sick and there's not enough substitute drivers, he says 8 drivers have agreed to take on double routes after their first route is done. It means some kids could get to school about 40 to 50 minutes later than normal.
And putting an emphasis on keeping our doors open. Find ways to keep the doors open, kids coming to school. That's what our community wants. That's what our district wants.
And Seiler wants to stress that it's very important that if your contact information has changed, that you parents need to contact the Board of Education to let them know that, because so they can get out word if your child will be picked up late on a particular day because of this situation having to be used. In Whitley County, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Seiler says late arriving students will not be counted tardy and will still be served breakfast. People worrying about paying their bills in the coming months now have a place to turn for help. LKP Crisis Benefits and LIWAP subsidy and crisis benefits are now available through LKP Community Services. LKP can help families pay for energy services, while the newest edition, LIWAP, will help with water and sewer bills. In order to receive this assistance, you must be low income, making less than 150% of the poverty level.
We've been able to take care of a lot of people's processes. And by doing that, they don't have to worry about their water being shut off. And in the same respect, they don't have to worry about their electricity being off, because we've had a very cold, wet winter this year.
LKP services are available in Leslie, Knott, Letcher, and Perry counties. We'll have more tonight on how you can apply if you qualify.
Well, it looks like a beautiful day around the mountains today. Plenty of sunshine. Then you step outside and it feels like the dead of winter, which it pretty much is. Low 30s out there right now, but not too many clouds to talk about from our camera up at the University of Virginia at Wise. In fact, I don't even think those are clouds. I think that's just the lens flare with the sunshine that we have out there. Downtown Whitesburg, all traffic moving smoothly, and it's rather chilly, 33 degrees. Notice that dew point, though, of 8. Yeah, it's pretty dry outside, and we'll continue to see that at least over the next 12 hours or so. Temperatures around the region have stayed cold. Middle 30s as you head out into the Cumberland Valley, places like Jacksboro and Middlesboro. You head up to Moorhead, Irvin, they're still in the 20s this afternoon. We do have a bit of a warm up on the way a little bit later on in the work week, and by that I mean tomorrow, because we've got other changes on the way. Another clear and cold night, though, for tonight. Mid-teens out there, clear and quite cold around the mountains. We've got some changes and then changes upon the changes. I'll have the latest on all of the changes coming up in just a bit. Steve?
Evan, thank you. White House officials said they plan to make 400 million certified N95 masks available to Americans for free. Major pharmacies are expecting shipments of those masks this week. WYMT's Dakota Makeris tells us where you can find them.
Public Health Director Scott Lockard tells me it is time we step up our game with masking as COVID cases surge, something that will soon be a little easier thanks to help from the federal government. Boxes of N95 masks are being shipped across the country to pharmacy chains like CVS and Walgreens, where they will be available to people for free of charge. The government is working with federally qualified health centers to help aid in distribution. Right now, he says participating locations can give out 3 to 4 masks per person. He adds the multiple available designs of N95 masks could lead to confusion for consumers, but assures they all provide a high degree of protection.
We have different types of N95 masks. This is one of the most common here that provides a high degree of protection. A lot of people are familiar with these that go to hardware stores, do painting and things of that nature. They're used to using these.
Lockard says he does not know when the free masks will be available to smaller pharmacies. In the studio, Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, CBS News reports CVS Pharmacy will have the free N95 masks in its stores in, quote, the coming weeks as shipments arrive. The Omicron variant is forcing Kentucky doctors to explore new COVID treatment methods after the FDA announced that 2 popular antibody therapies, BAM and Regeneron, are not effective against the variant. Antiviral pills from Pfizer and Merck could make a bigger difference, but the pills are in short supply.
It just kind of shows that this virus is just going to continually challenge us in the sense of what we can do for patients and what we need to do as a community around it.
The treatments may not be gone forever, though. The FDA could put one or both of those antibody treatments back on the list if another variant develops that can be helped by them. We recently learned that Pfizer is in the process of developing an Omicron-specific vaccine, which could be very beneficial as Omicron continues to drive the spread of cases around the world, and fully vaccinated adults are still seeing milder symptoms from it. But with the virus looking less likely to go away every day, many researchers are asking what happens when another variant takes hold.
If other variants emerge, this Omicron-specific vaccine may not have adequate coverage against future variants. We need to have a more pan-coronavirus vaccine, one that really doesn't matter which is your variant, it'll still have efficacy.
Dr. Anthony Fauci says researchers are already making significant progress towards a more universal COVID vaccine, protecting against multiple variants and potentially even against other coronaviruses. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has a clear message for pharmacies: stop turning away immune-compromised people looking for a 4th vaccine dose. Studies show many did not get a full antibody response to 2 or even 3 doses. The CDC announced the decision in October, but America was debating boosters for the general public in the same time frame, which may be causing confusion. Many patients are struggling to find someone who will give them a 4th dose, but major pharmacy chains, CVS and Walgreens, both say they are working to fix the problem. Demand for masks and respirators are boosting 3M's bottom line. The maker of N95 masks, Scotch tape, and Post-it notes says it earned $1.34 billion in its 4th quarter on sales of $8.6 billion. But the company, which is the biggest maker of N95 masks in the United States, says it does expect the overall demand for the PPE to slow down later this year. Let's head over to Wall Street now on this Wednesday. The Dow closes down today more than 130 points. We'll have more financial news in our next half hour. One U.S. Supreme Court justice is apparently ready to hang up his robe. Sources say Justice Stephen Breyer plans to retire after serving more than 2 decades on the high court. The 83-year-old liberal justice has been a consistent liberal vote on the court since he was sworn in back in 1994. Then President Bill Clinton nominated him to the bench. Breyer is expected to stay on until the end of the term and until Congress confirms his replacement. The response to Breyer's announcement was swift from the White House, with Press Secretary Jen Psaki tweeting, "The choice of retirement is solely in the hands of the individual justices." No further information from the White House has been made public at this time. We'll have much more about Justice Breyer's announcement and plans moving forward in our next half hour. Another prominent name in Supreme Court history is drawing attention once again, as books that belong to the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg are up for auction. Bonhams is selling more than 1,000 of the books online, along with other items Ginsburg owned. Several of the books have inscriptions from others on the U.S. Supreme Court. Some of her old textbooks even have notes in them. The auction also includes gifts from Gloria Steinem and Annie Leibovitz. The estimated value of these works is unknown. Straight ahead on First at 4, Broadway's longest-running show has a new addition that's making theater history.
And before temperatures climb back above average, we've got another chilly night ahead. I'll have the full details on the way.